So a lot of the questions that are coming in are military based. So I'm thinking of doing a military based Q&A possibly right now. I'm feeling like I'm on a roll. So if you have any MilSO type questions, ask those now for sure. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this looks like I literally just filmed my last Q&A here, it's because I did. I was in the middle of filming the other one and I realized a lot of my questions are MilSO based, and my other followers, I feel like I have a hair on my nose. My other followers are probably not as interested in things having to do with the military. Just, I know that if I wasn't a military significant other, I really wouldn't care about what it's like dealing with all these military things, you know, all these questions you guys are asking me. So here we are, dedicated video for my MilSO subscribers. Thank you guys so much for all of your questions. Let's get right on into this. First question is from Amber in Progress. What are some areas you and Sergio would like to get stationed in? We would both love Washington State. I think that's like pretty much, that's my number one. His number one is Italy, which I'm also so down for. Washington State, Italy, Germany, Colorado would be amazing. Just drop me off on the mountains and I'm gonna ski the entire time that he's doing whatever over there. Just leave me on the mountains. And I would also love Alaska. He's a little bit less down for Alaska because it's like way over there, and if you ever want to like leave Alaska, it's like expensive to like leave and takes a lot of time to leave. So I get it, but like, oh my god, to have like the northern lights over your house and just to be cold all the time. It's cold there like pretty much all the time, right? Yeah. Sounds ideal for me. Mrs. Perez XO, hey Jalissa, asked, if it was really up to you, where would you like the hubby to PCS? And I literally just answered it, but I thought I would give you a shout out. And girl, when are we going to the gym together? I can't wait to work out with you, but yeah, already answered it. I'm curious, you should like text me when you watch this video because I know you're gonna watch it. Text me where you wish you guys were stationed, because I'm pretty sure that you probably would prefer not being in Vietnam. Which, by the way, if you guys aren't stationed at Fort Bragg, that's what people call this place. Terry Meredith 1 asked, do you have any advice for my husband and I's first PCS? I'm a little nervous. Since I moved here after he was already stationed here, my move here was not considered a PCS. So I don't really have any PCS advice. Moving advice, try to get on everything as soon as possible. Stay on top of it. Like, I started packing like 2 months before I was leaving, and I still was like packing up until like we were packing up the car and I was still putting things into boxes. Like, not the best person for that. I really don't have any like PCS specific advice, just typical moving advice, which is just to try to be kind of organized with your packing. Don't stress too much, and do your research on the area that you're going to be PCSing to. I luckily was close enough that I could come to North Carolina before we moved here and really like scope out the area. If you can somehow go to the place where you're gonna be stationed and see it with your own eyes, because on like Trulia, Zillow, all that stuff, things aren't always as they seem on the internet, and being able to see things in person really like important to me, at least. If you can do it, definitely do it. If not, if you can find somebody like who's like there already to look for you, that'd be great too. Tiana Lisa, or thank you Anna Lisa, I don't remember, I think I was answering one of your questions in my last Q&A, but you asked, did you see your husband often while he was at AIT? My boyfriend's mom wants to go every weekend. If you're close enough that you can go see him that often, I mean, go for it. But I was all the way over here in New York working a desk job that was pretty lenient and would have like allowed me to rearrange my schedule so that I could go visit him, but I'm here in New York. He was way over here in Arizona, almost in Mexico. Like, the flight time, the cost of flights and renting hotels and getting cars and all that stuff, it just didn't make sense. He did have the holiday block leave that they make them take over like the Christmas holidays, so he did come to see me during his AIT, and he also luckily had his phone and like laptop and everything the entire time he was at AIT, so we had like regular long distance communication, just like texting all the time and everything, so it wasn't crucial. But I mean, if you have the means to do it, go for it. Amanda8 asked, does it get easier saying goodbye? No. I mean, you get better at it, kind of. I wouldn't say it gets easier. it sucks every single time, but you get thicker skin through it. Hannah Kalk asked, challenges being a military girlfriend as opposed to a fiance/wife. Being a fiance means just as much nothing to the military as being a girlfriend does. Until you are married with paperwork, without paperwork, nothing matters to the military. The military is all about the paperwork, and that's really all a marriage is to the military. The challenges being that you don't really exist in the eyes of the military. You have no benefits. You were just in a regular relationship with a person, but once you get married, you obviously get some of the benefits. I would say is not a good enough reason to get married to someone. If you're getting married to someone thinking that like you're gonna be good for life, military pay is not great. Even with the added benefit of having like BAH to be able to like move out together and have more money to be able to live on your own outside of the barracks, it's not the most amount of money that a job can give you. And that actually reminds me, I had another question here from Nikki Sweetheart, who asked if I was low-key married or engaged to my man to be living with him. Being engaged would be equivalent to being just dating him, because until you are married, you're technically not supposed to live with your significant other. There are ways that people do live off post with their significant other before getting married. You don't have to be married to live with them. There's a little bit more hoop jumping, there's a little bit more barracks room maintaining. It's a little bit like on the down low, you're not really supposed to do it, but some people do it. But yeah, like if anybody asked me like 2 months ago if I was married to him to be living with him, I'd be like, you know, like I could be. It makes life so much easier to be married, to be able to live together, because basically he got married and they were like, all right, get out of the barracks. He had 2 weeks to get out, but they were deploying in like 2 weeks and a day. So they like literally kicked him out and he had to go live on a friend's couch for like 2-3 days because they were like, no, you're married now. Like, don't care that your wife is still in New York and that you're leaving. Like, no, get out of the barracks. Jamie Kephart asked, how did you like Fort Bragg? We've been here for 5 years. I'm currently here right now. It's okay. It's not my ideal living location. It's very different to New York. I heard a lot of horror stories about Fayetteville, and granted, I can see where the horror is around here, but it's also very easy to avoid. I wish there was more life here, especially considering there's so many people here. So many young people that could be, you know, flourishing while we're stuck here in Fort Bragg. But I mean, I haven't really found anything that's like, yeah, this is the best place we could be. We're both really looking forward to leaving. If you guys are stationed in Bragg and you know where like the secret good stuff is, let a girl know, because I haven't been able to find it just yet. It kind of sucks being away from family and friends and everything that you're used to, and also all the opportunity that I had back in New York. It's a little bit tougher to live down here and do things down here, but it's okay. No like major complaints, just nothing outstanding to say either. Megan Nicole asked, why didn't you decide to marry him between basic training and now? I'm in a position where I've been with my army guy for 2 years and he's at basic, and he sent me a letter asking about possibly getting married, and I just want to hear everyone's story about it. Funnily enough, one letter that me and Sergio exchanged back when he was in basic, I remember him literally writing the M word. Like, that's how he called it. Like, it wasn't marriage. Like, we're grown adults over here who were talking about like getting married before, but he called it, he's thinking about the M word. Something about being in basic makes them think about marriage. And I know that a lot of people, like during family day, they'll go and get married. For some people, that's like the perfect course of action. If you were already thinking about getting married, what better time than to do it between basic and AIT, so that all the paperwork part is like done by the time that he's out and being sent somewhere, and then you get to PCS with him. That makes sense for some people. For us, we weren't really in a rush. I knew that his AIT was gonna be long, and if we got like married right after basic, I don't think I'd be able to move with him to where he was at AIT, because it was literally at like the cutoff for where family gets accompanied to an AIT place. So like, oh well, I'll just stay in New York and I have my own stuff going on here, and we're just gonna do long distance, and we weren't really in a rush. And even like actually finally getting married, we were just kind of like, I guess we should do this now. Like, it makes kind of more sense now, doesn't it? It's all up to when it works for you. Everybody's timeline of things is different. If that's when you guys want to get married, go for it. No one's stopping you. but if it's not the right time for you either, there's no rush. I had another question here from Ruby Rube. My fiance says that they can't live off base until married. Does that mean that you're already married and keeping it a secret, or it just applies to a certain MOS? Just because I already basically answered it. You can live off base without being married. It's more complicated and a lot of more jumping through loops and flaming fire hoops and lions and tigers and sharks at the bottom, but it can be done, and it does not apply to a certain MOS. It's not like an MOS thing. Just, yeah, we were married. I had to get my laptop for this because I think I can search YouTube comments on here, and there was one particular comment that I wanted to address, and I was gonna do like a whole video on it, but I think that it makes more sense to do it here. This girl asked me if I know if the Army would have an Army man's girl pay for him to be replaced from his deployment. And I said, no, the military pays for everything, meals, travel, hotels, but don't send anyone money. He's lying. She responded saying that he didn't say that. She got an email from the deployment department. I've actually gotten a lot of DMs and comments and messages and emails, all of these things about girls who are in relationships, long distance relationships with people that they have never met, or guys. I don't know if I've had any guys send me this message, but it applies to guys too if you're in a relationship with someone that you've never met. But you're being catfished, like, for money. Don't send anyone money that you've never met, especially, like, I should not be smashing my laptop, but I get so, like, I understand that you've been in this online relationship with someone and you love them, and they're telling you that, like, they're stuck in some country and they need money and they don't have food and they're not sending them home and they're stuck there and they don't have hotels and they can't buy this and that, and just send them some money through, like, what is it, Western Union, where you, like, just send money to, like, third world countries and they steal your money and disappear. That's what's happening to you. The Army pays for everything. The Army, while someone is deployed, they're getting their paychecks, especially if they have, like, a family, they're getting separation pay as well, and just, like, deployment bonuses, all that stuff. Like, they're getting paid. Every 2 weeks they have a paycheck coming in, and if they are coming back from a deployment and say they need to stay in a hotel for a few days, if they keep the receipts, the Army will reimburse all of that. They are being fed on the daily with so much food. Sergio managed to stay a vegetarian while he was deployed. I honestly thought that they were not going to accommodate for a vegetarian, especially, like, during a deployment. He was a vegetarian over deployment. Like, don't send strangers money until you have, like they might be sending you pictures and, you know, you're talking to somebody, but ask them to FaceTime with you. If they refuse to FaceTime with you, they're not a real person. I know that that's hard to believe, and, like, you want to believe this person, and also, there's no such thing as the deployment department emailing someone's girlfriend. There's no deployment department, and they're definitely not going to be emailing a girlfriend if there is a deployment department. No. Just, ugh. And I actually read that one out to Sergio, and he was like, no, you need to tell the internet that that is not a thing. I'm like, I know, but no one's gonna believe me. But, like, guys, I was the face of a very intense catfish at some point. I'm sure maybe there's other catfish accounts out there on the internet that are using my face, but there was one that was so intense that I still to this day get, like, emails and DMs when people find the real me and they're, like, crushed, and it's so bizarre. This is totally not related to this, but kind of. It's a fun little side story that if you're a MilSO viewer now, you know the story. This person created this alternate universe with all these other fake accounts on all these platforms and used all these people that I know in real life and, like, made all these accounts and alter egos for everyone. And to this day, I still get people like, oh my God, I've even talked on the phone with you. How are you not the person that you say you are? And it makes me feel bad because I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry, but I had no idea. Like, I couldn't stop this. So even if you had a phone call with this mystery man in the Army somewhere who's stuck somewhere because of XYZ, until you see them in real life or, like, on FaceTime and their face moves when they talk and, like, you know that they're a real person, you can't believe it. Like, if Sergio told me that he needed $100 because he spent his whole paycheck or something, which he wouldn't do, but yeah, I would send him $100. Like, yeah, sure, here's $100. Go buy some shoes. I don't know, like, that's different. If it's a long distance relationship with a person that you've literally only met through the internet, don't send them money. Please. Don't send them anything. Please. Madeline M. Shook asked, how long after basic training did you get engaged? Does it count as engaged if we were just kind of like, hey, you want to get married? Yeah, let's go get married, and we're married in less than a week? That happened 2.5 years after basic, like 6 years into our relationship. We have a weird story. M1 Kisa, I want to say your name's like Melissa, but M1 Kisa asked, is your husband staying in the military for 20 years or till his contract ends? I've had a lot of you guys ask, like, is he gonna like renew his contract or anything? As a typical person in the military, he changes his mind every single day. Some days he comes home from work and he's like, I can't wait until my contract's over. Other days he comes home from work and he's like, I want to go put in my packet to be a warrant officer. Other days he comes home from work and he's like, I can't wait to put in my 20 years. I personally wouldn't mind if his contract ended and we were out of the craziness that is the military, but I will support him in whatever decision that he makes. If he's gonna do his 20, I guess he's gonna do his 20, and I'll be here. I've had another question from a bunch of different people just like in the past 2 weeks. I think I've had 2 different girls ask me, and basically it's, what do I send him while he's at AIT? Ask him. Like, AIT is different than basic. They are allowed more privileges, but then again, everybody's AIT is different. Sergio's AIT was super lax. He had his phone, his iPad, a laptop. He got to like go off post relatively often, I'm pretty sure. I don't really remember at this point anymore, but I would just be like, yo, what you need? And he'd be like, I don't really need anything. So I just sent him some like beef jerky and chocolates and a picture of us and a whole bunch of confetti glitter. It was not like, oh god, he needs like baby wipes or something. It was just kind of sending him a gift. It was no longer life or death, which it never really is in basic. They have all the bare necessities. You just can make their life a little bit easier. There's much less restrictions. Usually everyone's AIT is different. I can't speak for your AIT. Imani B asked, what's the paperwork process like in the military once you're married? I have a whole video that I was filming during dealing with the paperwork. I need to see if I can find it. If not, I'm gonna like refilm and try to recap on it. But because my experience was not typical. But I will say that if you are the person marrying the military member, your military member is going to take care of most of it for you. You just kind of float along and then go into the office and take your like ID picture at the end of it. It's really not on you. I had a special situation, of course, but I want to save that for another video because I do have a video. I actually had a meltdown at some point during the process. I think that I filmed part of it. I don't remember. And even if I did, don't know if I'll share it because I'm pretty sure that I was like ugly crying because my anxiety got to me and it was not a pretty moment. Not one of the highlights of my life. But yeah, that video is coming soon. I need to see if I can find that one. If not, I need to film a new one. So keep your eyes out for that. And with that, my camera battery is actually flashing that it's dying for like the 4th time that I've been filming today. I think that's a sign that I should stop babbling for the day and save the rest of the questions that I get for another question and answer video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave it a nice big thumbs up for me. If you have more questions for me, if you don't follow me on Instagram, which you should be doing because that's where I ask for questions most of the time, but if you have questions for me that are MilSO related, make sure you leave them in the comment section down below. If you have any ideas, topics, suggestions, questions, anything. I said questions at least twice just now, but anything that is like army wife related, now that you guys know that that's what I am. If you have anything along those lines, you can leave that all in the comment section down below, and I will definitely be using your suggestions for future video ideas. I always have links to all of my social media in the description box down below. Come find me all over the internet. Let's hang out. And of course, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, you totally should. I post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.